Let us lift up the power of listening. What if we extended that sacred practice to more than the human world? Listen to the wind in the trees, the silence of the snow, and the chatter of a creek. The earth is constantly sharing her stories, her needs, and her wisdom. Today, we commit to listening deeply.
Con espíritu de reverencia, reconocemos que nos juntamos en la tierra de los Kumeyaay. Al encender esta vela, reafirmamos nuestro compromiso de cultivar relaciones significativas con los habitantes de esta tierra y de trabajar juntos por la justicia y la equidad.
In the spirit of reverence, we acknowledge that we gather on the land of the Kumeyaay. As we light this candle, we affirm our commitment to cultivate meaningful relationships with the people of this land and to work together for justice and equity.
I invite you to rise, embody your spirit, and join in our opening hymn, number 163, For the Earth Forever Turning, and 15, Por la Tierra Sempiterna.
Good morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Diego, where we worship each Sunday in South Bay, in Hillcrest, and online. Our mission is to create community, nurture spiritual growth, and act on our values to help heal the world. I'm Armand Kuhlman. I use the pronouns he, him, and I am a lay leader with the Climate Justice Team. Today, I am serving as the worship associate for our annual Earth Day service. If you are visiting, I want to extend to you a special welcome. I invite you to fill out a visitor form in the order of service and return it to the welcome table. If you are joining us online, you can also fill out a visitor form at the link at the live stream page or on the YouTube service description. We would love to connect with you. If you've been coming for a while and starting to feel like this is your spiritual home, consider becoming a member of this beloved community. If you would like to explore what it means to be a member or have questions about the membership process, please visit the welcome table today.
Welcome to this space. Bring all of who you are, in all the beauty of languages, cultures, and skin tones that come together in your uniqueness. You are welcome here. In all the ways you experience and express gender. You are welcome here. In the beauty that is who you love and how you love. You are welcome here. In all the ways you live and move and experience your embodied self. You are welcome here. With all the religious and ethical traditions that inform your spiritual life. Together, may we live into our shared values with love at the center. It is good to be together. We are delighted to welcome our guest speaker today, Clovis Honoré. He currently serves as the outreach coordinator at Grid Alternatives San Diego. Clovis has advocated for social justice, serving on boards and in organizations including UAMIC, San Diego Area Congregations for Change, Alliance for African Assistance, and San Diego Black Health Associates. Clovis is on the Social Justice Board at Christian Fellowship Congregational Church and is the past president of the San Diego branch of the NAACP. Please join me in welcoming our guests. We're so glad you're with us. So today, we want to honor and celebrate that today is Non-Binary Parents' Day. So for all those who identify as non-binary and are raising our children and the next generation, we honor you, we see you, and we're so grateful for the care that you offer our families. If you have a joy or a concern today, I invite you to visit with a lay minister. Our lay minister is Mary Ann Harper. She'll be available, and you can always find the lay minister by the golden scarf. We also have a tour after church today. If you want to see some of the many gems of this beautiful campus, Liz Jones will be right here after the service to meet you. Our Dining for Dollars bidding starts in just a few weeks, and that means that today, this Sunday, is the last day to submit your events. Your events are what make Dining for Dollars possible. It's an opportunity for us to build community and deeper connection and also raise funds for the church. If you'd like more information or you need help filling out your form, there'll be a table on the patio. And my final announcement, there's a lot going on around here, is that the process for selecting a search team slate for the lead settled minister will be voted on in the congregation in June, and it's nearing its completion. By now, all of the members of the church should have been contacted. If you haven't been contacted or you haven't had a chance to respond, now is the time. The deadline is tomorrow at 8 a.m. So please contact Board Vice President Maren Outwater by tomorrow at 8 a.m. Her email is vicepresident@firstuusandiego.org. Thank you so much.
And that was Reverend Kristen's last announcement, but not the last announcement. As I hope you know by now, next Saturday we will be installing Reverend Kristen officially as our settled associate minister. So that's next Saturday, April 25th at 2 p.m. Just like a Sunday service, there will be a time for all ages, and then we'll dismiss the children out to childcare. So we really encourage families with young children to come on and celebrate with us. And for those of you who fall into that category of young children, or the adults too, costumes are encouraged. So if you would like to put some fancy dress on, that would be wonderful. Afterwards, we'll have a reception in Bard Hall with ice cream, cheese, cake, and fruit, and dancing. So come prepared with your dancing shoes. And it will be crowded that day, I believe, so you might want to think about carpooling or alternate ways to get here, or arrive early to find a parking place. So we hope to see you next week at 2 p.m. And now I invite you to rise in body or spirit and join me as we sing our church hymn and recite our church aspiration. Good morning, friends. I'd like to invite any children or youth who'd like to come up and join me for our time for all ages. Good morning. Oh, you found another Easter egg? Oh, we'll be finding those till June. I found one this morning up there. I see one actually up there right now. Oh, good morning. Oh, there we go. Anyone else want one? There you go. So, friends, today we're celebrating Earth Day, and we're thinking specifically in our service about the sun. And one of my favorite quotes about the sun is by a guy named Galileo Galilei. Anybody ever heard of Galileo? He helped remind, he didn't really discover, but he helped remind Europe specifically that the sun was the center of our solar system. By looking through his telescope, which was a new invention. And he talked about the sun, and he said this: the sun, with all the planets revolving around it and dependent on it, can still ripen a bunch of grapes as if it has nothing else in the universe to do. And it just reminded me how powerful the sun is. You know, it can do all these multiple things at one time. And so I found this book that we had in our collection called Sun Song, and it just talks about the day in the life of the sun. So this is the Sun Song. Turning, turning, we turn toward the sun. Each turn takes a day. Good morning, everyone. Sun, light the woods with the soft spring dawn. Shine on the spots of a newborn fawn. Sun, warm the rocks at the old water hole. Sing to the turtles and a little brown mole. Sun, call the sheep with the sweet scent of hay. and warm up the nose of an old dappled gray. Sun, touch the feathers on a soft, still wing. A blink and a bob and a robin starts to sing. Sun, kiss the faces of a child and a pup with a gentle touch, tickle so they both wake up. Sun, dry the dew on the grass and the leaves and listen to the whisper of a busybody breeze. Sun, so strong, so bright, the tulips and the lilacs love your light. Sun, draw forth the carrots and the greens, fill a new garden with squash and beans. Sun, rinse the fields with a golden dye, shake out the clouds in a wind-tossed sky. Sun, be wild. Sun, be bold. Paint skies pink and purple and gold. Sun, slip away from the sheep and the gray munching their supper at the end of the day. One last peek at the turtles and the mole as they settle in for night at the old water hole. Sun, whisper hush to the last blue hill. Deliver us sleep time, safe and still. Sleeping, sleeping, we turn toward the sun and a brand new dawn. Good morning, everyone. The end and the beginning. Oh, thanks. So friends, I wonder if you can think today of all the things that you like about the sun, all the ways that you interact with the sun every day. That might be a good thing to think about throughout the day as you notice the sun today. And now I'm going to invite you, those of us up here, to stand up, and we're going to lead the congregation in our affirmation. We'll say it first in English and then in Spanish. We are Unitarian Universalists, a people of open minds, loving hearts, and welcoming hands. Somos unitarios universalistas, personas de mentes abiertas, corazones amorosos, y manos que dan la bienvenida. And I invite all the children and youth who'd like to join me and their other leaders on the patio. We'll head to our groups.
Our reading this morning is a responsive reading by the Reverend Dr. David Breeden called Noticing the Living World. We invite you to join us in the sections marked People on the slides.
Already the day has begun. It's work.
Animals are awake.
A robin listens to the ground.
A fox slips through a fence.
A frog watches beside the water.
A hawk circles on invisible paths.
All around us, practices learning.
Attention.
And we are here.
Animals among animals.
Let us breathe together.
Listening for the earth's breath around us
And
through
people
us.
around us.
Let us continue that practice of paying attention and letting the earth breathe through us. Invite you, if it feels good, to lower your gaze. Maybe shift in your seat a little bit and find the most comfortable position for your body today. And take a moment to pay attention to the breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. feeling the rise and fall of your belly and chest like a wave. Connecting with the breath. The life force that animates our bodies. The force that connects us to all living things on this planet. For a few moments, feel into your connection to the more than human world. Knowing we are part of one another and belong to each other. Blessed be.
Good morning. Several things before we get started. I'm going to start my timer now. I'm not joking. I'll tell you why in a hot second here. Good morning. As you know, my name is Clovis Honoré. Among other things, I'm an associate minister at Christian Fellowship Congregational Church of San Diego, United Church of Christ. Almost as much of a mouthful as your name. What do I want to start with? Anyone who has been in front of this desk knows that the words that come across this desk keep writing themselves right up until you open your mouth, and sometimes even after that. So I've got some paper here. I'm old school, and I wear glasses. I've been wearing glasses since second grade, so I have paper here. Doesn't mean necessarily I'm going to be right on point with what's on the paper. Three things. One, I really want to appreciate your choir. As I came in when they were rehearsing, and I thought, the angels have got some competition, for those of you who received that tradition. Secondly, as I was thinking about the things I was thinking about as we were going through the service this morning, it brought to mind that someone recently put an AI meme into the whatever you call that sphere, where, of himself in imitation of a very well-known religious figure. And many, many people thought of that as blasphemous. But as I was thinking about that sitting here today, and how much I try to ignore the responsibility that I have today with you, because it makes me terribly nervous to think that I might have to say something that's important and valuable and own that, right? I thought that in one way or another, I'm quite sure that all of us have done something similar in our lives. It didn't get as much attention, right? Because it was probably behind closed doors or just among family and friends. So whatever errors I make, whatever missteps I have today, I ask for your grace. I am no better than anyone else on this planet. And lastly, from my culture, I warn you, as I have also already mentioned a little bit, that I come from the Baptist tradition. And in the Black Baptist church, the average sermon is 45 minutes to an hour long. And I'm going to try to keep it under that. I've already burned up 4 minutes of my 15 or 20 minutes with that. So with that, let's jump into it. Yeah, I'm kind of reading because I am nervous. Greetings and blessings to you all. First, I want to thank you all. First UU, which I've known as First UU for a long time, for thinking highly enough of the work we do at Gridded Alternatives to invite us to speak with you and to offer us your gracious gifts. Thank you, Rhea, and all of those who put this program together for the communication and the coordination that makes an event like this happen today. It seems like we walk in and there's church, and then we get done and we walk out and go to the next thing, but there's a lot of work that goes into, look at this guy, he's working still, right? It goes into making this happen. So thank you and the leadership and membership of this church for all you do, for all the people and the planet you do it for. It's an honor to be among you, and somebody's pen just fell. See, I told you things happen. It's an honor to be among you and to share the space in which we strive to better understand our place in this universe, on this planet, and right here where we sit and stand. It has been said that we are now living in an Anthropocene era, meaning a new, fresh, or recent era where humans have become the driving force of ecological change on this planet. This is analogous, and I guess I should have started with the title, which you've already seen, Analogy to Reality. And that's another Baptist thing. Analogy to reality, it sounds good because it rhymes a little bit. We could have said theory to practice. We could have said perception to action, but because it rhymes, I said analogy to reality. So don't expect, those of you who are teachers and professors and all that, don't expect us to be perfect around what an analogy is and how it relates, but we're going to use it anyways. This means that there's a new, fresh, and recent era where humans have become the driving force of ecological change, water, thank you, on planet Earth. This is analogous to calling it the age of humans, which we should kind of shudder to think that there's an age of humans, considering the context in which we find ourselves today. According to an article in the Atlantic magazine in 2019, in the middle of the 20th century, quote, the very nature of planet Earth suffered a devastating rupture. The break was sudden, global, and irreversible. A new reality that human activities, not natural processes, are now the dominant driver of change on Earth's surface. That carbon pollution, climate change, deforestation, factory farms, mass die-offs, and enormous road networks have made a greater imprint on the planet than any other force in the past 12,000 years. But for thousands of years, as you acknowledge today, the Kumeyaay Nation cared for this land. And for tens of thousands of years, humans around the world have lived in general harmony and in balance with this planet we call Earth. So what happened? What I want you to do today is I want you to weigh your values, against what you are about to hear. Like I said, it won't be perfect, but think about what you think about as you hear what you're about to hear. I'm interested to know if the analogies we use to describe our existence match the realities we actually experience. So in 2015, the World Economic Forum asked, when did humans start polluting the earth? They claimed that, quote, when the Spanish conquered South America in the 16th century, they took over the Inca mines and soon began to pump clouds of lead dust over the Andes. The silver the conquistadors sent back home made them wealthy. It also made them the world's first industrial-scale toxic metal air polluters, perhaps causing us to rethink the timing of the moment when humans truly began to change the environment, not care for it, as in my tradition, Adam was instructed to do. Notably, in this article, they point out that religion played an important part in the Spanish conquest and incorporation of indigenous peoples, bringing them into the Catholic Church peacefully or by force. So why were the Spanish out and about creating such a mess? Well, this brings us to the Age of Discovery, which Wikipedia tells me is circa 1418 to circa 1620. Another analogous word or phrase, the Age of Exploration. The Age of Discovery was part of the early modern period and overlapped with the Age of Sail. Important point to remember. It was a period from approximately the 15th to the 17th century, during which seafarers from European countries explored, colonized, and conquered regions across the globe. The Age of Discovery was a transformative period when previously isolated parts of the world became connected to form the world system and laid the groundwork for globalization. So values, analogy versus reality. Interesting analogous terminology. Discovery, exploration, early modern, seafarers, connected. You know, like when those seafaring explorers, AKA pirates, like Christopher Columbus and Francisco Pizarro and Hernán Cortés of the early modern era explored, AKA violated. The New World, AKA somebody else's land. And connected, AKA displaced or destroyed, all those indigenous people on these continents and enslaved people from Africa. So context is important. We use analogous terms, sometimes we call them euphemisms, to describe things. And that's Wikipedia giving us a very nice description of what the Age of Discovery was all about. Values versus analogy versus reality. That analogy does not fit the reality. The extensive overseas exploration, particularly the opening of maritime routes to the East Indies and European colonization of the Americas by the Spaniards and Portuguese, later joined by the English, French, and Dutch, spurred international global trade. The interconnected global economy of the 21st century has its origins in the expansion of trade networks during this era. And what is it that drove this age of discovery? Again, we're thinking in terms of values, analogies versus realities. And this is interesting because this was written days ago, but you talked about it today. In the Renaissance, artists and writers such as Galileo, Machiavelli, which I think is interesting they included, and Michelangelo adopted a view of life, an analogy of reality that stressed humans' ability to change and control the world. We saw how that's going now. Thus, the rise of Protestantism and the Counter-Reformation, along with the Renaissance, helped foster individualism and create a climate favorable to exploration. So we're creating a thread here from back there to now. And the ideas we had in mind, the analogies we created to describe our existence, that became the reality we experience today. So, colonialism established a hierarchy. For example, civilized versus folks who wore clothes like this were considered savages. That allowed Western powers to justify the exploration of land and people, I'm sorry, I missed that word, justify the exploitation of land and people, a worldview, an analogy, deeply ingrained in the development of modern capitalism. Now, I know you don't want to hear about capitalism because you know all about capitalism because almost all of us grew up in capitalism. Our parents grew up in capitalism, and we're teaching our children capitalism. It's a wonderful thing, isn't it? But just here's an AI overview of capitalism. Capitalism is an economic system based on private ownership of the means of production, voluntary exchange, and profit-driven accumulation. Core beliefs, core values include the sanctity of personal private property rights. Sanctity? Sacredness? So, digression. Everywhere we go today, we hear land acknowledgments. And the land acknowledgement is somebody came and took something from somebody and they ain't gave it back. And the construct, the concept, again, analogy of the land acknowledgement is that there is a sacredness to the land. And there's a story that folks tell in the Baptist church about some guy who wants to challenge God about what he can make and what God can make. And he says, I can do whatever you can do. And God says, well, then you make a man. And he said, okay. And he stooped down and started to get some chemicals together and some sand together and stuff. And God's like, hold up. You got to make your own dirt. You got to make your own chemical. You got to make your own water. You can't start with my stuff to make your stuff. And so this idea of the sanctity of the land is because we are not in a position, even if we ever get to the place where we do have things like Star Trek has, replicators and all that kind of stuff, we still are remaking stuff that's already here. And so how we got this idea that there's a sanctity in the private ownership of property is a very curious value. Capitalism also proposes free competition, market-determined prices, and limited government intervention, aiming to maximize efficiency, innovation, and individual self-interest. Now, in my old Christian Bible, there's a term that says, love of money is the root of all evil. And the Greek word translated properly into English is avarice. And the dictionary definition I got of avarice was an inordinate desire to have material things. What can you do for yourself, or even for your immediate family, or even for your extended family with $1 billion? So I don't have time to go into too much more. Where are we at here? I got 5 minutes left. Okay. All that good stuff. And did you notice that definition of capitalism did not include human labor? Serfdom, indentured servitude, slavery, not mentioned. Values, analogy versus reality. So I spend much of my spiritual time trying to understand this experience I'm having as a human being and doing in this universe. I also spend a lot of my time trying to understand how we share our experiences with each other, how we communicate, especially the words we use to communicate. And because of my history, upbringing, and experience, I spend a lot of my personal spiritual time trying to understand the words that have been handed down to me from the ancient Hebrew culture and first century Christian culture, much of which was also Hebrew and Jewish, in the documents they have shared with us. Excuse me. From those documents, I have gleaned a few words I think speak to us about our discussion today. The first one is love. And I define love as the unconditional commitment to the welfare of the other. Trying to teach my kids that, we'll see how they do. It is love in several different forms that brought me to you today. It is an unconditional commitment to the welfare of my family that I work at Grid Alternatives and provide for them. It is an unconditional commitment to the welfare of my community that I sought to serve them as a volunteer in Brownies, Little League, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, to volunteer on my community council and to serve on a number of boards, community organizations, and committees. It is an unconditional commitment to the welfare of my ancestors and progeny that led me to become a contributing member of the San Diego State University Black Student Union, the NAACP, the Alliance for African Assistance, the San Diego Black Health Associates, and to pledge Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, the first black collegiate fraternity in the United States, founded in 1906 at Cornell University by 7 black men we call Jules. In our long tradition of service, we produce the likes of Thurgood Marshall, Roland Martin, Lionel Richie, Andrew Young, W.E.B. Du Bois, Raphael Warnock, Paul Robeson, Duke Ellington, Jesse Owens, Jackie Robinson, Cornell West, Adam Clayton Powell, Charles Rangel, Kane Hope Felder, William Barber II, Martin Luther King III, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Yes, I'm bragging. I come from a great lineage. It is an unconditional commitment to the welfare of April, Joshua, Christopher, Jordan, Jacob, Zuri, and Jazira, my children and grandchildren, that I continue to do the work of social justice. Mr. Raymond Michael Honoré and Mrs. Annie Lila Leonard Honoré taught me to try to leave things in a better condition than I found them, which is interesting in the face of entropy. And I don't have time to explain that right now, but it's an important thing to consider. The second one is life. So I was raised in the Brethren Church, actually, in Los Angeles. When I moved to San Diego, I got involved in the Baptist Church, and in 1998 became an associate minister at Bayview Baptist Church. In 2010, in the midst of a spiritual crisis, I was privileged to spend 3 years in a Kemetic, you would call that ancient Egyptian, initiation led by Dogon priests who shared with me and others many concepts about the earth and the universe I had not been previously exposed to. In Kemetic spirituality, the highest principle is the preservation of life. It is fascinating when you are taught to realize that the entire universe is alive and conscious. That the earth exudes the life we see on its surface, and that it does so in a perfect harmonious dialogue of energies with the sun, the moon, and the stars. And that everything on this planet, from its core to its surface, to its atmosphere and beyond, is engaged in that dialogue. You and I are engaged in that dialogue. We are engaged with that dialogue with the chair you're sitting in, with this building, with this planet, with the stars that you can and can't see. And if you ever take a class in quantum physics, you'll be interesting to see how it relates to what we call spirituality. We like to use the term every living thing. We hear that frequently, right? Every living thing this, every living thing that. But in the Kemetic spiritual context, everything is living. So what does that mean for us here today and tomorrow and the next day and the next? I got 40 seconds. I got just enough time to do this. For me, it means, for a start, I keep talking to you, you keep talking to each other, and all of you keep talking with and singing with and praying with and playing with everyone you have the opportunity to do something good for. Second, it means intensifying the time we spend drawing closer to and learning more about this planet we call home and how the life within it dialogues with the life within us and contributes to that life. Finally, it means having a plan to do something that makes a difference, to leave the planet as a better place than we found it. Something smart, which means specific, measurable, attainable, revisable, and time-phased. At the top of this message, I didn't turn the page fast enough. The pages stick. At the top of this message, I asked you to listen and check your values against what I was saying. I'm going to let you off the hook and not ask you if you are living these values, and I'm not going to even ask you if you are living your values, like those expressed in your participation in this church. But I am going to ask if we are living our values. We as a culture, we as a nation, we as a people. As we used to say, the proof is in the pudding. And for those of you too young to recognize that phrase, I think a good way to say that is your analogy in line with your reality? Do the things you claim to believe in and stand for manifest themselves in your life daily, weekly, and yearly in a way that others can see your good works and emulate those works? An analogy is a comparison between two distinct things to highlight their similarities, usually to explain a complex concept or demonstrate a logical relationship. It goes beyond a simple metaphor by explaining how and why two things are alike, often arguing that if they share some traits, they share others. If we were to compare what we say, would it match what we do? Or are we living in an alternate reality? Your presence here and your invitation to have me here tells me that there are a lot of good connections between your analogy and your reality. I say keep up the good work, and I'll see you on the field doing the work we need to do to preserve life, our planet's and our own. Peace and blessings to you all. Good day and Godspeed.
We've just heard about the amazing work of Grid Alternatives at San Diego. Now we have an opportunity to support that work through our generosity offering. Local leaders tout San Diego as America's solar city, but dig a little deeper and you won't find many solar rooftops in San Diego's low-income neighborhoods. Grid Alternatives San Diego is working to change that. From San Isidro to Escondido, Barrio Logan to Julian, they are bringing the power of the solar energy to low-income families, rooftop by rooftop, at the rate of 2 homes a week. And they do this all with the help of community volunteers and job trainees who can use the experience to help them get jobs in the solar industry. You can donate by cash or check in the boxes at the back of the meeting house, or you can text 73256 with the text to donate, or scan the QR code on the screen. Thank you so much for your generosity. The offering will now be greatly received.
I invite you to rise now in body or spirit. We're going to sing our closing hymn, A Beloved for Many of Us, number 1064, Blue Boat Home. May we go forth from here remembering that this earth we belong to is sacred. And may we live our values, be called to live our values to protect everything that is living. Blessed be, and go in peace.